Chapter 14, Create Telemetry to Enable Seeing and Solving Problems. This is Group 4 with Garrett Hafen, Mike Marshall, Hector Ovalle, and Gwen Alphin. Telemetry is the process of recording and transmitting the readings of an instrument. Systems such as weather, automotive sensors, and healthcare take advantage of telemetry to understand, predict, and respond to situations. There are 4 important parts to creating a telemetry infrastructure. We need to start by gathering the right data. We know what data to gather from business rules, hardware and software constraints like traffic and bandwidth speeds, and environment variables like whether or not the site is live. Based on these data types, we need to form them into different packages such as single events, lists of information or logs, and ongoing metrics. These packages get sent to the event router who decides what to do with them. It's better to not have your email inbox bombarded with trivial things, but those trivial things might matter at some point down the road, so you can't just get rid of them. Vital packages need to be looked at immediately so they can be sent as an email or an alert. Metrics can be stored to be pulled during normal business hours and when they need to. With these 4 elements in place, you're set to keep an eye on your project. We need to understand the end result in order to finish our telemetry, the different types or levels of reporting, and some examples. The debug level is for retrieving information that is most useful to developers to help develop the program and resolve bugs in the program. An example of a debug level report would be when, where, and how authentication is used. Next, we have the info level, where data is returned about user-driven or system-specific actions such as invalid inputs. The warn level tells us about things that could potentially escalate to a problem if left unattended. Things like resource limits such as RAM, server space, bandwidth might not be an actual problem, but if they continue to get worse, they will be, which leads us to the error level, whether from a warning that was ignored or something that went wrong unexpectedly. Error reporting tells us something has failed. Finally, we have the fatal level, which is as it sounds. When the program or process needs to terminate, we need to know about it and fix it as soon as possible. If a backup fails, we need to know about it immediately and take action. Like if a banking backup fails, the risk of lost data is too great to ignore. Why do you think some departments in the company do not like to share metrics and performance with the other departments? One of the reasons is because there might be a blaming culture. A department may avoid documenting changes and displaying telemetry so they can avoid being blamed for outages. This can be very toxic for a company to have within their departments. In my former company, this was the case. Although they can see some metrics up in a screen, they will immediately come to the IT department to see if we made any changes and start blaming us for outages. Most of the time, it was their code which would break something as part of their deployment release. This made our relationship with the product owners and development worse every time. There are positive outcomes of displaying telemetry across the departments. It can help solve problems in our environments, deployment pipeline, etc. It enables us to formulate a hypothesis about what is causing a specific issue and solve it. In my current company, this is critical to start troubleshooting. It is an expected behavior to bring up our performance metrics and see if we can see something unusual with our systems and code when there is an issue. By using telemetry, we save time and money. Time because we have to put what we are doing aside and help. Money because customers are expecting great reliability across our products. Another positive outcome of displaying telemetry is it helps departments, especially development and ops, to have a positive relationship between each other instead of having a mentality of, I am not going to help, it is not my problem. There is an attitude to help and solve the problem as soon as possible. It is a win-win relationship between them both. To allow for everyone to be able to find and fix problems with their daily work, We have to have metrics that are visually displayable. By displaying this information, it allows for information and problems to be tracked, found, and fixed right away. Our ability to visually see and track this information increases our efficiencies in the overall scheme of our design and operations processes. Once we have telemetry in our environments and deployment pipeline, it is important that we radiate that information across the organization. We want to make sure that everyone in the company can see that information without having to ask for permission, access a production system, or send a ticket to whoever is in charge of that information. We want to make telemetry self-service. When we radiate that information, everyone in the value stream shares a common view of reality. To help with that, we can use a server that centralizes all information in an easy and fast way. There are many technologies and ways to do that. In my company, we use Gecko Board. Everyone in the company can access it by using an internal IP address. It can also be displayed on TVs or any device with screencast. This comes to the next bullet point, which needs to be highly visible. If possible, display this information in central areas where everyone can see it. The best way is by using a TV or some sort of display. When telemetry is used across the organization, we show transparency. There is nothing to hide to internal employees, visitors, and stakeholders. We can even take it to the next level and display this information to external customers. Many companies have status pages that show the health of their product lines. When transparency is shown, we promote trust and a nothing-to-hide attitude, which helps the company as a whole. We need to find any gaps that hinder our being able to quickly detect and find incidents. To achieve this, we need to create telemetry at all levels of our environments. That includes the business, application, infrastructure, client software, and deployment pipeline level. By having telemetry in all these areas, we eliminate blaming and are able to rely on data and facts. It is important for applications, business, and infrastructure that we generate enough information so that we can determine exactly where and when a problem occurs. We need to layer all relevant information in our metrics. This includes all other operational activities, such as when there is maintenance, new features deployed, or the system is being backed up. In conclusion, by creating telemetry metrics that are visible to everyone, we enable ourselves to see problems beforehand and solve them before a catastrophic event occurs. This allows us to be more productive in the workplace and creates an environment of happy employees and customers. Thank you for listening. This has been Group 4.